The Bible has been a subject of scrutiny and debate for centuries. While skeptics question its validity, many believe that the fulfillment of its prophecies throughout history is evidence of its divine inspiration. Here we explore several significant biblical prophecies and their historical fulfillments. By examining these events chronologically, providing mathematical explanations for time prophecies, and citing credible historical sources, we aim to present a comprehensive and engaging case for the trustworthiness of the Bible. What is biblical prophecy? Biblical prophecy involves messages from God delivered through prophets, often containing revelations about future events. These prophecies serve to guide, warn, and provide hope to people across generations. The accurate fulfillment of biblical prophecies suggests knowledge beyond human capability, supporting the claim of divine inspiration in the Bible. Analyzing these prophecies and their historical fulfillments can strengthen faith and challenge skepticism. To understand the succession of events, we'll explore the prophecies in chronological order. We start from the first destruction of Jerusalem, 586 BC, and how it was prophesied years in advance. Jeremiah's prophecy, see Jeremiah 6. Gather yourselves to flee out of the midst of Jerusalem and blow the trumpet in Tekoa and set up a sign of fire in Beth-Haccherem. For evil appeareth out of the north, and great destruction. Prepare ye war against her. Arise, and let us go up at noon. Woe unto us, for the day goeth away, for the shadows of the evening are stretched out. Arise, and let us go by night, and let us destroy her palaces. For thus hath the Lord of hosts said, Hew ye down trees, and cast a mount against Jerusalem. This is the city to be visited. The prophet Jeremiah prophesied for several years about the coming destruction of Jerusalem, and the first temple built by King Solomon by Babylon. During the time that he began prophesying, from around 626 BC, Babylon was then rising as a world power and was still not an expansionist power. At the time of Jeremiah's initial prophecies, Babylon was being organized by Nebuchadnezzar's father, Nabopolassar, who ruled from 626 BC to 605 BC. However, within a few years, Babylon rose to world dominion under Nebuchadnezzar and destroyed Jerusalem and the temple in 586 BC, just as Jeremiah had prophesied. Daniel and almost all Judea were taken into captivity in Babylon, as noted in Daniel 1 verse 1 to 2 and 9 verse 2. The duration of the Babylonian captivity and the destruction of Babylon were also prophesied in Jeremiah 25 verse 8 to 12. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon, and that nation, saith the Lord, for their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolations. What is the historical proof? The historical proof of the destruction of Jerusalem has been found, and the clay tablet called the Babylonian or Nebuchadnezzar Chronicle, describing this history, is in the British Museum. Various other texts and archaeological findings show that indeed Jerusalem was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. This confirms the fulfillment of Jeremiah's prophecy in history. The second biblical prediction is about the fall of Babylon. Isaiah prophesied in Isaiah 13 verse 19 to 22 thus, And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. Jeremiah 51 verse 26 also prophesied, They shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever. Jeremiah 25 verse 12 states, And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, saith the Lord, for their iniquity in the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolations. How was this fulfilled? In 539 BC, Babylon fell to the Medo-Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, as recorded by historians Herodotus and Xenophon. Daniel also confirmed this in Daniel 5 verse 25 to 31. After its conquest, Babylon underwent a gradual decline, eventually becoming uninhabited ruins, aligning with the prophecy that it would never be inhabited. What is the modern state of Babylon? Today, the site of ancient Babylon, located in modern-day Iraq, remains largely uninhabited, with ruins that testify to its past glory and sudden fall. The dreams of Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel and their historical fulfillment will be the third Bible prophecy to be analyzed. In Daniel 2 verse 31 to 45, King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a great statue made of different metals, gold, silver, bronze, iron and iron mixed with clay, which Daniel interprets as representing successive world empires. In Daniel 7, Daniel dreams about the same empires but with different symbolisms: lion with eagle wings, limping bear with 3 ribs in his mouth, 4-headed leopard, dragon with 10 horns, an 11th horn that uproots 3 horns, and iron teeth and claws. In Daniel 8, another prophecy expands on the earlier one in Daniel 7. A he-goat with a prominent horn attacks a ram by a river with great fury. The horn breaks and becomes 4 horns, from which another little horn appears. What is the interpretation or meaning of the statue and beasts? The head of gold in Daniel 2, or lion with eagle wings in Daniel 7, represents Babylon, which ruled from 605 to 539 BC. The chest and arms of silver in Daniel 2, or limping bear with 3 ribs in its teeth in Daniel 7, symbolizes Medo-Persia, which ruled from 539 to 331 BC. This empire conquered Babylon. The belly and thighs of bronze in Daniel 2, the 4-headed leopard in Daniel 7, or the he-goat with a prominent horn between its eyes in Daniel 8, stands for Greece, which ruled from 331 to 168 BC under Alexander the Great, which was divided among his 4 generals after his death. Hence the 4 leopard heads or 4 horns on the he-goat. The legs of iron in Daniel 2 or 10-horned dragon in Daniel 7 denotes Rome, which ruled the world from 168 BC to 476 AD. The Roman Empire succeeded Greece. The feet of iron and clay in Daniel 2 represents divided Europe after the barbarian collapse of Rome. Some countries were as soft as clay, and others were very strong as iron. How has this been historically fulfilled? History confirms the succession of these empires in the exact order predicted. Indeed, just as the ram, or Medo-Persia, was by the river when it was attacked by the he-goat Alexander the Great, the prominent horn between the eyes of the he-goat defeated the Persian Empire by a river called Bumadus in Arbela, or Gaugamela in modern-day northern Iraq. This defeat marked the beginning of the Greek Empire. Alexander the Great swiftly conquered the Medo-Persian Empire on October 1, 331 BC, establishing Greek dominance as foretold. He died shortly after conquering Asia, and his empire was divided among his 4 generals, symbolized by the 4 leopard heads and 4 horns on the he-goat. Division of Rome. The Roman Empire succeeded Greece and ruled for almost a millennium until it was broken apart into divisions through barbarian invasions. The Roman Empire eventually split into various nations, corresponding to the feet of iron and clay. The prophecy on the destruction of Tyre will be the 4th Bible prophecy to be tested in this video. The Bible predicted in Ezekiel 26 verse 3 to 14 thus: "They shall destroy the walls of Tyrus and break down her towers. I will also scrape her dust from her and make her like the top of a rock. Thou shalt be built no more." How was this fulfilled historically? Tyre was first besieged by Nebuchadnezzar between 586 to 573 BC. Shortly after the prophecy, Nebuchadnezzar besieged Tyre, destroying the mainland city. Subsequently, it was conquered by Alexander the Great. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great destroyed the island city of Tyre by building a causeway using the rubble of the mainland city, effectively scraping her dust and making her like the top of a rock. After conquering Tyre through a 7-month siege, he was welcomed in Jerusalem and told by the high priest that according to Daniel, he will conquer Persia. Indeed, Alexander had a dream of meeting a priest in a white gown who would direct him to conquer Asia. This account was written by Flavius Josephus in the Antiquities of the Jews. What is the state of present-day Tyre? The site of ancient Tyre is a place where fishermen spread their nets, precisely as Ezekiel predicted. The fifth Bible prophecy we will address are the Messianic prophecies and predictions about the Messiah. Micah 5 verse 2 predicts the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. This was fulfilled exactly as prophesied, and Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. Manner of the Messiah's death was also predicted in Psalm 22, which describes the crucifixion-like sufferings centuries before the practice was known in Israel. Isaiah 53 foretells a servant who would bear the sins of many. This also happened in the life of Jesus, who was silent and non-reactive while he was mocked, beaten, stripped naked, spat on, and finally killed. Furthermore, Daniel 9 verse 25 to 27 foretells the actual time the Messiah shall be cut off or killed after confirming the covenant with many for a week, that is 7 prophetic days, which is 7 literal years, and in the midst of the week, or 3.5 literal years, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. How were these prophecies historically fulfilled? Jesus of Nazareth was born in Bethlehem, crucified in Jerusalem, and his life aligns with the descriptions in these prophecies. Christ was killed after 3.5 years of ministry, and after the remaining 3.5 years, Stephen was stoned, and the gospel or covenant was spread to the Gentiles. Thus, the covenant was confirmed with the Jews for a week, which is 7 prophetic days or 7 literal years. Our earlier video captioned, "Can the Bible be trusted?" How the Bible accurately predicted the date of Christ's baptism and death, provides further and better details on the prophecies of Christ. Are there evidence of these from non-biblical sources? Yes. Tacitus and Josephus, who are Roman historians, confirm the existence and crucifixion of Jesus, lending external validation to this prophecy too. Another prophecy that accurately shows the time of Christ's baptism is found in Daniel chapter 9. This prophecy spans 70 prophetic weeks. It is therefore called the 70 weeks prophecy. What does this prophecy say? Daniel 9 verse 24 to 27 states, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people. From the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, which is 69 weeks. Just as explained above in prophetic literature, a day often symbolizes a year, making 70 weeks, 70 times 7 days a week, equal to 490 prophetic days or literal years. How were these events historically fulfilled? The starting point of this prophecy is the decree to rebuild Jerusalem, which was issued in 457 BC by King Artaxerxes of Persia. Counting 483 years, which is 69 prophetic weeks from 457 BC, brings us to 27 AD. Why not AD 26, one might ask? Because there is no AD 0 or BC 0. So a year is always added when crossing from BC to AD. This is called the 0th year. Therefore, the prophecy stretches from the decree to rebuild Jerusalem in 457 BC to 27 AD, the year Jesus began his public ministry. Furthermore, the prophecy mentions that the Messiah would be cut off in the middle of the final week, that is, between the 69th and 70th prophetic week, or 7 years between AD 27 and 34. Therefore, this prophecy accurately points to AD 31, that is AD 27 plus 3.5 years, aligning with the time of Jesus' crucifixion. Such an accurate prediction of time over several years cannot be by chance. Let us now move to the 6th Bible prediction and how it was fulfilled. This prophecy is about the second destruction of Jerusalem, AD 70. The Bible predicted in Daniel 9 verse 26, "And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary." In Matthew 24 verse 2, Jesus said, "Not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down." How was this historically fulfilled? In AD 70, Roman general Titus besieged Jerusalem for months. The city and its temple were destroyed, fulfilling Jesus' prediction. There are several historical accounts on the destruction of Jerusalem. Flavius Josephus, a 1st century Jewish historian, provides a detailed account in the Wars of the Jews. Ellen G. White, in The Great Controversy, describes the siege and its devastating effects. After the destruction of Jerusalem, over 1 million Jews perished. Survivors were sold into slavery, and Jerusalem was inhabited by non-Jews. The name of Judea and Jerusalem were erased from the map and called Palestine. This is one of the reasons why the Jews and Palestinians are still fighting over the land, because when the Jews returned after World War II, the Muslims were already there. This event marked a pivotal moment in Jewish history and fulfilled specific biblical prophecies with remarkable accuracy. The seventh Bible prophecy is the prediction on the 10 days of persecution, AD 303 to 313. The Bible predicted in Revelation 2 verse 10, "You will have tribulation 10 days." How did this happen historically? In prophetic literature, a day often symbolizes a year. Ezekiel 4 verse 6. The 10 days therefore equals 10 years. How was this historically fulfilled? There was a dark period of Christian persecution called the Diocletianic persecution. This occurred from AD 303 to 313. The Roman Emperor Diocletian initiated the most severe persecution of Christians, lasting 10 years. Are there historical sources for this event? Eusebius of Caesarea documents these events in church history. John Fox mentions this period in Fox's Book of Martyrs. How did the persecution end? The Edict of Milan in AD 313, issued by Emperor Constantine, granted religious tolerance, ending the persecution. This historical event that precisely spanned a 10-year duration aligns with the prophecy and shows how the Bible cannot be a mere book written by humans. The eighth Bible prediction is about the rise of the papal empire. The Bible predicted in Daniel 7 verse 8. There came up among them another little horn, and 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. Also, Revelation 13 verse 1 describes a beast rising from the sea with 10 horns. These two symbols of the little horn and the beast rising out of the sea represents the same power and empire. How do we know, and what do the symbols mean? The little horn represents the rising power among 10 kingdoms, the divided Roman Empire. The 3 horns that were uprooted are 3 kingdoms that would be subdued to establish this little horn power. The beast with 10 horns and 7 heads from the sea represents a power rising from a highly populated area. This is because sea in prophecy refers to large populations. This is explained in Revelation 17 verse 15 thus. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. This beast had 7 heads and 10 horns. According to Revelation 17 verse 9, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, meaning that the 7 heads of the beast shows that the headquarters or capital of that empire sits on 7 mountains. This empire, however, had 10 horns or 10 kingdoms, similar to the 4th beast in Daniel 7, which was divided into 10 kingdoms. Which power in this world came from a highly populated area and has its capital sitting on 7 mountains? When you Google which capital city has 7 mountains, the answer is Rome. The capital city, often referred to as having 7 mountains, is Rome. It's commonly called the City of 7 Hills, due to the 7 hills upon which the ancient city was built: Palatine, Aventine, Capitoline, Caelian, Esquiline, Viminal, and Quirinal. Therefore, this prophecy in Revelation 13 about the beast rising from the sea refers to the same little horn power in Daniel 7, which is the papacy ruling over the divided Roman Empire's dominions under the Holy Roman Empire from Rome. Now that we have used geography to locate Rome, let us see how history fulfills this prophecy. The uprooting of the 3 kingdoms, that is Heruli, AD 493, Vandals, AD 534, Ostrogoths, defeated in AD 538, occurred in order to pave way for the papacy's rise. This was undertaken with the help of Emperor Justinian and his general Belisarius. With these kingdoms removed, the papacy gained temporal power in AD 538. Edward Gibbon, in the History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, discusses these events. Ellen G. White elaborates these historical events in The Great Controversy. Please see our video captioned, Testing the Bible's Prophecies and Predictions. How the Bible predicted the rise and fall of states. To see more details on this event, the destruction of the three barbarian kingdoms therefore signified the establishment of papal supremacy and marked the beginning of the papacy's influential role in European politics and religion. The whole of the Western Roman Empire fell under the dominion of the papacy. The fulfillment of this prophecy further shows how accurate and divine the Bible is. There is another addition to the prophecy above about the papacy's rule, which further shows how accurate the Bible is. Daniel 7 verse 25 states, "He shall persecute the saints of the Most High for a time and times and half a time." Revelation 13 verse 5 adds, "And power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months." Now, let's interpret these time periods. Time equals 1 year, times equals 2 years, and half a time equals half a year, totaling 3.5 years. In prophetic terms, 1 year is 360 days, therefore 3.5 years equal 1,260 prophetic days, which is the same as 42 prophetic months. Indeed, the Bible even used these terms interchangeably to describe the same persecution event in Revelation 12 verse 6 and 12 verse 14. Using 30 days a month for the 42 months yields 1260 days or 1260 literal years. Historically, this duration from AD 538 to 1798, when the papal persecution came to an end, indeed spans 1,260 years. During this time of 1260 years, persecution was rampant. The Waldensians, for instance, faced severe persecution, and many fled to the Piedmont valleys. Numerous individuals were executed for opposing papal doctrines. Historical accounts vividly capture these dark times. J.A. Wiley, in his History of Protestantism, details the Waldensians' plight. Jean-Henri Mel d'Aubin, in History of the Reformation, documents the broader persecution. Even John Milton's poem, On the Late Massacre in Piedmont, reflects on these tragedies. The significance of this period is profound. The 1,260-year span aligns precisely with the duration of papal dominance and persecution, confirming the consistency with the prophecy. In AD 1798, another biblical prediction came to pass. Revelation 13 verse 10 states, "He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity." Daniel 7 verse 26 adds, "But the court shall be seated, and they shall take away his dominion." The historical fulfillment of this prophecy is marked by the capture of the Pope. In 1798, French General Louis-Alexandre Berthier, under Napoleon Bonaparte, entered Rome and took Pope Pius VI captive. This event effectively ended the papacy's temporal power. Historical sources such as George Trevor's Rome and its papal rulers describe this significant event. The Encyclopedia Britannica also confirms the capture and its impact. The fall of the papacy in 1798 marks the end of the 1,260 years, validating the prophecy's precise fulfillment and enhancing the credibility of biblical predictions. Now let's move to the 9th Bible prediction that was also fulfilled historically. The Dark Day, the Falling Stars, and the Lisbon earthquake between 1755 and 1833 are significant events in biblical prophecy. Revelation 6, verse 12 to 13 states, "There was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth." How did this prediction manifest in prophecy? First, the Lisbon earthquake of 1755. On November 1st, one of the most destructive earthquakes in history struck Lisbon, Portugal, resulting in an estimated 60,000 deaths. The impact was felt across Europe, Africa, and America, and documented in numerous historical records, including the Encyclopedia Britannica. Next, the dark day of May 19, 1780, occurred just as predicted. A mysterious darkness covered parts of North America during daytime hours, requiring candles at noon. Samuel Williams, a Harvard professor, wrote about it, and Ellen G. White references eyewitness and newspaper accounts in The Great Controversy. Finally, the Falling Stars event on November 13, 1833, also occurred. The Leonid meteor shower produced an unprecedented display, which was visible across North America and described as stars falling like snowflakes. Denison Olmsted, a Yale astronomer, studied and documented the event, and newspapers and journals of the time reported on the phenomenon. The sequential fulfillment of these events, from the earthquake to the dark day and falling stars as described in Revelation 6, sparked interest in prophecy and the Second Advent movement, marking a significant awakening. One of the greatest and most remarkable predictions in the Bible is the 10th prophecy we shall now address. In the year 1840, we witnessed a remarkable fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Revelation chapter 9, verses 13 to 15 states, "And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men." Now let us interpret the meaning of these symbols. The four angels represent four Islamic sultanas, or leaders in the regions around the Euphrates River. The river Euphrates symbolizes the Ottoman Empire, which was, centered around this river. An hour, a day, a month, and a year is a prophetic time period during which these powers would be active. Let's do the calculation together. One prophetic year equals 360 prophetic days, or 360 literal years, as noted in Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 6, and Numbers chapter 14, verse 34. 1 month equals 30 days. 1 day equals 1 day. 1 hour equals 1/24th of a day, which is approximately 0.0417 years, or about 15 days. The total is 391 years and 15 days. How was this prediction historically fulfilled? On July 27, 1449, John VIII Palaiologos, the Byzantine emperor, died. His brother, Constantine XI, sought permission from the Ottoman Sultan Murad II before ascending the throne. This act symbolized the Byzantine Empire's submission to Ottoman authority. The start date is July 27, 1449. Adding 391 years brings us to July 27, 1840. Adding 15 days brings us to August 11, 1840. Now, what happened to the Ottoman Empire on the 11th of August, 1840? Interestingly, in the 1830s, Josiah Litch interpreted this prophecy to predict the fall of the Ottoman Empire in August 1840. On August 11th, 1840, the Ottoman Empire accepted the terms of the London Convention of 1840, also known as the Treaty of London, effectively surrendering its independence. Under pressure from European powers, Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia, the Ottomans agreed to international control over their affairs, particularly concerning Egypt and the Khedivate of Muhammad Ali Pasha. This marked a loss of independence. The Ottoman Empire effectively lost its sovereignty and became reliant on European powers. This event marked, the beginning of the end for Ottoman dominance. It also marked a shift in power dynamics. The empire could no longer act independently in international affairs. This event is seen as the end of the Ottoman Empire's sovereignty and the beginning of its decline, leading to its eventual dissolution after World War I. What is the significance of the date? The precise timing, 391 years and 15 days after July 27, 1449, aligns with the prophecy in Revelation chapter 9, verses 13 to 15. Josiah Litch's prediction, published before the event, gained widespread attention when it was fulfilled on the exact date he specified and energized prophetic study. When events unfolded as he predicted, it caused quite a sensation and bolstered the credibility of prophetic interpretation among his contemporaries. The prophecy does not indicate the total duration of the Ottoman Empire's existence, but highlights a specific period of prophetic significance. The precise fulfillment of the time prophecy adds weight to the argument for the Bible's trustworthiness and the validity of prophetic interpretation. Historical sources to buttress the fulfillment of this prophecy can be found in Josiah Litch's works, The Probability of the Second Coming of Christ, and an address to the clergy from 1838. These detail his interpretation and prediction. Also, historical records of the London Convention of 1840 and its impact on the Ottoman Empire, as well as Encyclopedia Britannica entries on the Ottoman Empire and the Eastern Question, and contemporary accounts from newspapers and journals from 1840 reporting on the Ottoman Empire's acceptance of the treaty, confirm the decline of Ottoman sovereignty. The 11th prophecy in the Bible that we shall evaluate is about the rise of America from the late 18th century onward, which is a fascinating chapter in history. The biblical prediction in Revelation 13, verse 11 states, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb." This verse has been interpreted to mean that the beast from the earth represents a new nation arising peacefully from where there was initially less populated land, in contrast to Eurasia, which was densely populated, represented as a sea in prophecy. The 2 horns like a lamb symbolize civil and religious liberty. The historical fulfillment of this prophecy can be seen in the emergence of the United States. The USA was founded in 1776, around the time the papacy received its deadly wound in 1798. It is interesting to note that this occurred in the same order as predicted in Revelation 13, verse 10 to 12. The United States grew rapidly in power and influence, characterized by the separation of church and state and an emphasis on freedom and democracy. Historical sources such as S.N. Haskell's The Story of the Seer of Patmos connect America to this prophecy. Ellen G. White, in The Great Controversy, elaborates on America's role. The significance of this alignment with prophecy is profound. The United States fits the description of the beast rising from the earth, and its rise to a world power fulfills the prophecy's implications. We will now address the 12th prophecy in the Bible, which is the healing of the papal wound in 1929, another compelling event. The biblical prediction in Revelation 13, verse 3 says, "And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed." The historical fulfillment of this prophecy can be seen in the Lateran Treaty of 1929, signed between the Holy See and Italy. This treaty recognized Vatican City as an independent state and restored the papacy's political status. Historical sources such as the New York Times on February 11, 1929 noted, "Heal wound of many years." The Encyclopedia Britannica also discusses the significance of the treaty. The prophetic fulfillment of the restoration aligns with the prophecy of the wound being healed. The modern influence of the papacy continues to play a significant role in world affairs. The spread of immorality in the last days is a topic that resonates deeply with our current times. The biblical prediction in Luke 17, verse 28 to 30 states, "Likewise, as it was also in the days of Lot, even so will it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed." Additionally, 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 to 5 describes people being lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. The interpretation of the days of Lot refers to Sodom and Gomorrah, cities known for sexual perversion and immorality such as homosexuality, bestiality, and lesbianism. The last days are characterized by a moral decline before Christ's return. In contemporary fulfillment, we see cultural shifts with increased acceptance, legalization, and legislation of LGBTQ+ rights, transgender surgeries, shared bathrooms between sexes, transgender males in female sports, multiple genders, and similar clothing worn by both sexes. Discussions on topics like sexuality and ethics are prominent in society. Globally, media and entertainment often reflect themes on LGBTQ+, with many TV shows and movies promoting lesbianism, gay and transgender characters to make it popular and acceptable, just as it was in Sodom and Gomorrah. The significance of this moral climate is that the current state of global LGBTQ+ legalization and militancy align with the prophetic descriptions affirming the veracity of the Bible. The evidence of divine inspiration is compelling. The precise fulfillment of these prophecies suggests knowledge beyond human foresight, supporting the Bible's claim of divine origin. Scholars and historians have documented these events, offering insights that bridge ancient texts with modern understanding. For believers, these fulfillments reinforce faith in the Bible as a trustworthy guide. The alignment of prophecy and history invites skeptics to reconsider the Bible's credibility.